Hello everyone, this is just a video to basically show off some basic uses of TEvents. Hopefully this will help someone. Yeah, so what I'm going to show you is how to open a vanilla door, and we might get a little bit frisky and make something a little bit more complicated, like pushing 2 buttons to open a door with the new TCombiner that will be released on Wednesday for me. But I think the first thing we need to do is go through the tools themselves, because there's now 7 of them. And yeah, so the first one we'll look at is this bad boy here, the TPlatform. Now if we look at it, you can see that we have, in the world settings, we have a cooldown delay, projectiles activate, player interact activate, player presence activate, and then we have 2 T events here, when activated and when reset. When activated, basically what that means is, depending on the configuration here, so if we have projectiles activated, if a projectile hits this T-plate, then that's defined as an activation. If a player interacts with it, so if they walk up to it and press E, then that is defined as a player interaction, and then activated would fire. And then if a player's presence, then that will fire. Now what player's presence means is if they walked up to it, stood on it, bumped their head on it, blew on it, then that would count as a player's presence. Then you also have when reset. Now there is a cooldown delay between when activated and when reset is called. By default it's set to half a second. So if we look here and we interact with it, it goes down, up, down, up, down, up, 3 times just for good measure. If we set this to 2 seconds, hit apply and close, down, up, down, up. So now with that, we can then assign TPerforms to this T event. To do so, I've tried to make it as easy as possible for you. You just click edit T event, and then you can see here on the left side you have TPerforms. TPerforms executed when a T event is invoked, sorry. And then we just want to add a new one, and then if we select it, you can see that this side of the widget then becomes visible. And then here you can name it like whatever you want, hello world, and then you'll have 3 combo boxes. One is to define on, so what do we want to perform a task, or not a task, a T action on? What do we want to manipulate within the world? And you can see here right now we only have the server, which is your actual server, and T-plate. T-plate being the T-plate that we're currently interacting with, which is also marked with an asterisk next to it. You then have using. Now, how to explain using? So if you want to say, for instance, you want to interact with a door, you would then go on door using self, and that way you can interact with the door directly. But some Pippi tools, or some Pippi tools that have T events, for instance with a T-plate, have sub-objects. In this case, the activator, so the person who activated this T-plate. And then from there you can perform a whole range of actions on that player. So if you look here, we have T-plate using the activator, so the person who activated it. We can then modify a character variable on them. Now those who have used Mushy in the past know exactly what this is. If not, a character variable is simply just a float that is stored in a little holder on a character that travels with them throughout their magical journey in the exiled lands. And then when they talk to thespians, they can then look up this value. Modify health. I hope you know what health is. Give kits, if you wanted to give a player a kit when they hit the button. If you have them assigned, they'll then be populated here. If you want to teleport them, ignore the bug. You can then manually enter a vector 3 here, or you can specify a walk if your heart desires. A pop-up notification, like when you level up, enter an area when a purge starts. There's a couple here using Funcom's default functionality. You can define the header. Not all pop-up notifications use a header. Keep that in mind. And then a message. You can knock out the player. This is one of the suggestions I had from Ku. She wanted to be able to knock out players when they entered the T-zone. So then I created a T action for the player type, which the activator is of, and that way you can knock people out if you want for a duration of time. You can kill the player. I'm pretty sure that's self-explanatory. Set a quest flag. So once again, if you've used Mushy, you know what a quest flag is, and you hopefully should understand what this pose here. If not, a quest flag is basically just a state of a flag on a player that you can use to check. So if you had a quest name like I don't know, visit Bob, and then you can then set visit Bob completed when they hit this T-plate. Rank config, if you wanted to adjust a person's ranks, or you could add or remove. So hit a button, get a rank, hit a different button, lose a rank. Set gravity, if you wanted to alter a player's gravity, you can do so here. Or the friction, if you wanted, you could set friction to 0 and have them skating around like an ice skating rink. That was also requested by Q. I'm not going to ask questions. And yeah, so that's basically the T actions for player types. There's a whole bunch of T actions for other types, and we'll go through some of them in this video. A majority of them we won't, but once you kind of grasp how the whole T event system works, it's really easy for you to understand how it all falls into place and how you can do more advanced things. Well, I hope so anyway. And yeah, but to start, so we've just gone through TPlates, and we've kind of gone over how to create a TPerform. The next tool we can look at is a TSeqs. I'm just going to make it daytime. TSeqs or TSeq. Basically, what this allows you to do is create a sequence of T events that you can fire off in execution with delays in between. So you can just add a few here, and you can see here one of the suggestions that was made was to have the estimated time of which this T event will fire. So you can see here, half a second this one will fire, and 1 second after the sequence starts this will fire, and then 1.5 seconds, etc. So if we were to change this to 4 seconds, it will then all update. So then 4.5 seconds this one will fire here. And I also added the edit sequence name that I forgot to add in. My bad. So yeah, by default, this doesn't fire automatically. It needs to be invoked with a T action. So through T events, so something needs to trigger it, or you can tick this little checkbox here, auto loop, and then it will automatically iterate through these. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and just keep going over and over. So if you wanted to automate something that happened in sequence, this is the tool for you. The next one is a new one that no one's seen yet, and this is what is called a TCombiner. What TCombiners do is they allow you to create virtual switches with binary states. So what that means is either on or off. Adding a switch is as simple as adding a switch. And then you can see here we've got switch 1, switch 2, their states, so off, off. We can see here their index, virtual index. So when you want to reference this switch through TEvents, you would then use virtual index 1 and virtual index 2 for the second one. You can also toggle on and off here manually if you wanted to test. Then you'll also notice down here there are 2 T events for the state of the switches. So you have when it was switched on and when it was switched off. You can assign TPerforms to each of those states, and not just that, but then you also have all on and all off. So when all the switches are on, this T event, or these TPerforms assigned in this T event are executed. Sorry. When all switches are off, then the T events in this part, this T event, sorry, are executed. And then, using these, you can actually create some pretty cool, complex things now. I had intended this to be released when all of the T event system was released, but I didn't get it finished in time. Now it's done, and you get it on Wednesday. TControls. TControls allow you to manipulate non-Pippi placeables, or certain non-Pippi placeables. So as you can see here, we've got torches, doors, gates, hatches, elevators, drawbridges. These aren't exclusive to vanilla pieces. If a mod has created the placeable in the same fashion that Funcom has, being that it is a child of that class, if that is the case, then these will work with modded pieces 100%. But if a modder has made their own custom stuff, then I can't guarantee compatibility, unfortunately. To add a placeable to a T-control, it's as simple as clicking, not collecting, or selecting. The select new placeable, and then you just look at the placeable that you want, like so. If you hold down Shift, you can then select multiple, and then right-click, and then you cancel selection. Now, if we go back to this T-control, you can see here that we have 3 doors assigned to this T-control, index 1, 2, and 3. Which can be referenced individually if you want, which was also a request that someone made, or you can reference them as an entirety, so like all of them at once. The next one is TTime. What TTime does is, you all know that Conan Exiles has a day cycle. What if you could do things at certain times of the day? So basically there's 4 different times that you can assign TEvents to. So when it's dawn, noon, dusk, and midnight. So this would be useful for those of you that want to have like a little get-together area, and the doors only open during the day. At nighttime it's closed off to everyone. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory, this one actually. And then you also have the ability to test, so that way you're not messing with the time and confusing people. The next one is TPlatforms. There's not really much to say about these. These aren't 100% done. Their configuration is still being completed. But the general premise is you place it down, you place point 1, and then you place a second point, and then basically you can have the platform traverse between the two. Yeah. And then last but not least, we have the TZone. Now, these are not zones. Please don't be confused. Zones are not coming back, more than likely. But what these are, these allow you to basically fire off T-events when players walk into an area, when they leave an area, things like that. They also have sub-objects of players, so you can get reference to all the players in an area using a T-zone. So whoever's in it, you can then perform actions on them. We won't go into that into this video. That is something that you will have to experiment with. But like I said, once you understand the general concept of what T-events are and how to use them, I'm pretty sure you won't have any issues. So the T-events that are assigned here on T-zones are player enters. So when a player enters the T-zone, and then when a player leaves the T-zone. Now, if you had T-events assigned to these, I wouldn't necessarily use these for like arenas and things like that. The reason being, if you have a player walks into the T-zone, and then another player comes along, walks into the T-zone, then that T-event is going to fire each time. And then if you had it when a player leaves, and then say for instance it shut off an NPC summoner, and then another player leaves, then you could interrupt. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's not a really good way of doing it, but it does have its uses. For those that want to use T-zones that way though, we have, or I have, capacity T-events. Basically these allow you to specify when the capacity of a T-zone reaches a certain count. So how many players are within the T-zone, then fire off an event. One of the changes in the update that comes out on Wednesday is that you can specify the direction in which that cap change occurred. So if we had 1 and then decreased, this wouldn't fire until count has been greater than 1, but then decreased to 1. So at least 2 players have entered the T-zone, and then 1 player has left and 1 player remains. That is when this would fire. And then you could have it that 5. So this cap event here wouldn't execute until 5 players are in the arena. Then if, or in the T-zone, sorry, then say for instance another 5 came and then it dropped back down to 5, it wouldn't start again, if that makes sense. So it's basically a way for you to specify the direction in which way the change of count occurs. You can also specify its size if you want. Yeah, there we go. And then also disable the visual area if your heart desires, which I would recommend, or else you're going to break people's immersion. What else? Users use permission. This was requested by people. Now, by by default, TEvents are conditionless, meaning that they just execute no matter what. But the T-zone itself has a condition that you are able to use the use permissions as defined here in the settings panel of this Pippi tool. And then if they pass the check for usability, then they would trigger this T-zone. Now, if you look here, it says checking this will check the tool's use permission for if a player triggers this zone. Players inside will still return all players. What that means is, like I said just earlier, T-zones have the sub-objects of players. If they don't meet the use requirement, they will still be returned and be affected by anything that you perform within the players in the T-zone. That's all that means. So in other words, don't rely on this if you want to kill people and only kill people of a certain rank. And I think that goes a brief little explanation, and we're at 17 minutes. Great. Sorry about that. So I think what we're going to quickly do then is we'll quickly set up a TPlate and a TControl, and we'll get it to open these doors. And if we have time, we will maybe do something fancy. So I'm just going to bring this so that you can... Should have brought a glass of water. My throat is dry. Alright, so if we look at our TControl, we've got door 1, door 2, and door 3. If we look here, when activated, we can then add, select target, we want our TControl, we want the doors, and then we want door 1. By setting this to 0, it means all doors, but we only want to control the first door, and we want to open it. And now open normal or open reverse, sorry, depends on which way the door opens. Open normal generally opens inwards of how you've placed it, so away from you, from the placing rotation. If memory serves me correct, we'll find out shortly. I could be full of shit. So yeah, so on opening, open normal, door control, correct, save, close. And then when we reset, we want to close the door. So we've created a new TPerform. On TControl again, we want to use the doors as allocated by the TControl, and we want to perform door action closed on index 1. Save, close, apply. Now, if everything has gone correct and I press E on this, this door should open. And it does. And then when this resets, it closes. What to do? What else? So yeah, that's a basic setup on opening and closing a door. Congratulations. That's the only reason I wrote TEvents. No. Alright, so what we can do next is we'll make it a little bit fancy. And we'll place 2 globes down. And I might go a little quick here, or more of a medium pace, like Adam Sandler. And I'll just call this glob 0. And we'll leave it all default. And then I'll call this glob 1, glob 1 like so. And then what we'll do is we'll get our nifty little TCombiner. Now, one thing I just want to point out is that it doesn't really matter where you place these. So you could have this like over here and scaled down like a chess piece if you really wanted. But I'm just placing these here so that you can see, you know, what I'm using, how I'm using them, stuff like that. So with the TCombiner, what we want to do is we want to go here. We want to create two switches. We're going to use these two switches as, I guess you could say, not so much a condition. Well, it is a condition, I guess. And I know I said earlier that TEvents don't have conditions, but this is different, okay? You're just going to have to trust me. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically, when the state of these changes, we're going to change the colors of the globs. So we're going to go create a new TPerform once again. We're going to on glob 0. This time we're going to be using self. All right, so what that means is we're going to be performing this T action on this glob directly. And as you can see here, we have invoke trigger, which allows you to set whether the glob is on or the glob is off. But then you also have another T action that allows you to manipulate the color of the glob. So when this switch is on, we want it to be green. And then when it's off, we're going to edit the T event for that. Add new TPerform, select the glob using self, set color, and we'll set it to red. And then we're going to save it and close. And then I'm just going to quickly do that for switch 2. Like so. Red, save, close, apply. Okay, so now if I was to toggle the state, it would be green, of course, because it's on. Then if I toggle it off, we can see now that that glob is red. Now, if we toggle the other one, like so, then that's red as well. And now we guess we can call this our default state. What we want to do is when both of these switches are on, we want to Tcontrol door open 1. So when both of these switches are on, then this T event will fire, and we have defined here that our Tcontrol will open the doors normally. Now, to set these switch states, what we're going to do is we will place down 2 more TPlates, sorry. We'll just go 1. Where did you go? Oh. 2. Oh, don't want him anymore. And then what we can do is we'll do onPlayer interact when activated with create a new TPerform, and this time we want to select our TCombiner. And once again, it's on self. There's no sub-objects for this actor. And we want to set the switch state. And because this is the first TPlate, we want to adjust the virtual switch 1. And we want to set that to on. And then when this resets, we want to set it to off. So once again, TPerform, TCombiner, switch state to off, switch state 1. Save. And then we'll have a 3-second delay between when the TPlate activates and when the TPlate resets. Apply, and that's done. So now if we test this, green, red, green, red, red light, green light. Alright, now play interact activate on this one. When this one activates, we want to change the second switch. So we create a new TPerform. I feel like I'm repeating myself. TCombiner, self, set switch state. This time we want switch index 2 on, and we want to do when reset TCombiner, self, switch state 2 off. Alright, so when it resets, we're going to set the virtual switch state of the 2 to off. Save, close, and we'll set this to 3 seconds as well. Was it 3 seconds as well? Yes, it was. And then we'll just test this now. Green, red, green, red. And now if I push both of these within the reset period, the door should open. And it doesn't. Why doesn't it open? Okay, let's have a quick look. Where did I go wrong? Oh, did I not save? Okay. Well, did I not even set it up? I don't know. It's late. Okay. Door, open, 1, save, close, apply, close. Interact, interact. The door opens. And what you could also do is when it both defaults to off, or when it both switches to off, we can then door, close, and we'll just do all of them, because I mean, they're already closed. So now we can activate, and until both of these reset, the door won't close. And then both reset, and then they closed. So this is just a very basic way of using the tools that have been added in Pippi's 3.8 update. I may make another video with more complex things, like, manipulating people within a TZone, having arenas, basic arena setups, things like that. Ceramon has been making some pretty cool videos, and I'm sure there'll be others as well that will find wacky, cool things. Like there was someone that made a light show already. It's like, whoa. But yeah, I'm sorry if this doesn't answer any questions that you had, or it doesn't help you. It's been one of those videos where it's been difficult to make because it's just so much I can, so much that I want to show you, but I can't at the same time because like this is already 27 minutes long. Jesus. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more videos explaining things. I'll try and do up like basic documentation to explain things a little bit more in depth, like what T actions certain things have. Just this things like that, yeah. But in saying that, I hope this did help you a little bit, and yeah, good luck, have fun, and don't do anything I would do.